Hello guys and welcome back to Hey Manager with me Alex, and today we're going to go through the goalkeepers, the best goalkeepers to get on Fantasy Premier League this year. Now then, it's probably up to you guys who you choose and who you want to get into your sides, but I'm going to give you a bit of guidance who I think will be the best ones for you. So, above me I'm going to have my rankings, my points. Normally I'd have like some bits of graphics above there, but today I've gone for the main graphics. I've gone for the big ones as you can see over there, and these ones will be ones where I go into a bit of the stats, a few of the things that they've done well last year. Obviously this will be updated this year as well. It's a pretty good index of how actually you can represent players and the statistics on the screen. Fixtures above it, Premier League statistics and who their names obviously, and in the bottom left you can see Leno, his actual price, and the next fixture that he'll be playing in. If we go through this, I'll talk about it through slowly. So Bernd Leno, how do I think he's going to do this year? So Fulham, I have Fulham down as my dark horses. I think Fulham are going to be your mid-table, top end of like your lower half, but probably your solid mid-table fighting for European type of team this year. I think last year they had a good year. They've built on that. They've brought in Smith Rowe, who I think is a brilliant signing. If they get McTominay, I think that team just adds itself another caliber of player that's really pushing them into that mid-table. If they can get a result here and there, it'll go in their favour. And to me, I think they look like a very strong side. Now, last year, Bernd Leno, 38 starts, 10 clean sheets, 134 saves, which is probably the third best, I think, somewhere in the league. Expected goals conceded was 64.14, so he was expected to concede so many. But he ended up, in the end, not conceding as many as he was hoping, which is pretty good for a Fulham side, who, to be honest with you, weren't fantastic. 10 clean sheets in all of that as well. So when they lose big. But in terms of actually getting clean sheets, it's still there. They can still figure out a game. They're pretty decent. 15 bonus points for Leno. We got 3.5 points per match, which is very high for a goalkeeper. Total points 133, which ranks him, I think it was joint third with Onana, or joint third with Onana last year. 106.7 on the ICT index, and he's only been selected by 3.1% of people, so he's a bit of like a differential pick, where 3.1% of players, your other 96.9% of players in the player base are going to lose out on it. So we'll have to see how that fares. But Bernd Leno for me is a great pickup. I think for me, if you're going to look at maybe bringing someone in, you've really got to consider Leno. I think Leno will be the one that is fantastic for him, for your side. But he's a bit on the pricey side. He's 5 million. Are you going to take the chance on Fulham? I think you should. So that's choice number one. Number two, we've got Emiliano Martinez Romero, or otherwise known as Martinez, the World Cup winner with Argentina. He is obviously at the Aston Villa side, where last year only 8 clean sheets, but they conceded, well, their expected goals conceded was so much less than Fulham's, around about 20 goals less, which is unbelievable. 95 saves, so not as many saves, still making quite a fair few saves, but started 34 games, he's Mr. Consistent, 19 bonus points, so he obviously contributed pretty well there. 3.4 points per match, obviously the clean sheets this year from an Aston Villa side who have bolstered their sides, the biggest spenders in the Premier League so far, but 3.4 points per match, I think, is going to be where, Martinez can be an improvement on that last year. 115 points, 82.2 on the ICT index, and not as good as your other players, but people fancy him. 12.9% of people choosing him for 5 million. First game is against West Ham United away from home. They do have Leicester away from home and then Arsenal at home. So you can probably see Aston Villa doing pretty well in the first 3 games of the season, depending on how West Ham turn up this year. But in terms of actually their run of games, you've got probably the first 9 game weeks. They're looking at a very strong start for Aston Villa. And I think if you look at Conte, you look at Pau Torres, you've got Diego Carlos in there. They've brought in Maatsen, Dina's in there as well. They've got Matty Cash. I think it's a strong side. They have lost Douglas Luiz, who sort of swept up in that back line, but I think he pressed forward a bit too much. I wouldn't class Douglas Luiz as like a very high caliber player. The player they brought in to replace him, that Argentinian defensive mid, who I can't remember his name. It's like Brunanoche or something. I can't Brunichevi or something like that. I can't remember his name exactly. But him, I don't think he'll do a shift. But they brought in the Ross Barkleys of the world, who sweep up, very consistent, ball retention. I think that's what they're going towards. Not being that team that's going to go out there and win the ball as much, but let the defenders press, hone in, stay compact. You've got your Barclays in there, you'll have your John McGinn's in there, who gets a bit further forward, to be honest. But players like that, who I think are going to be fantastic for them, and even bringing in Onana, the physical presence in the midfield. If you've got Onana, and then you've got Barkley, and then you've got your John McGinn's, I think it's a fantastic three in the middle, to be honest with you. It's a really good, balanced midfield, but very tenacious sort of midfielders. So Martinez is going to be covered very well. I think, your Conces of the world, who are very, very good, been playing well in the European tournaments, as well as the fact that you've got Mings in reserve as well, just in case. I think it's going to be a good year for Aston Villa, and they're going to get a lot more clean sheets than 8, which will bring his total points up. I reckon even if he got 12 clean sheets throughout last year, if you're looking at that, it's an extra 24 points. He's up there. He's up there with the top goalkeepers for points. So that's Emiliano Martinez for you. Next one, Andre Onana. So he survived his first season. He got so much abuse in the first half of the season, the second half of the season. He really went on a redemption arc, and you can see here, expected goals to concede, I think it was the largest in the league, apart from probably Luton or teams like that. But I think, United are in the top 5 for that for sure. I've seen the graphic somewhere. I think it was on the Athletic. But yeah, expected goals to concede, 69.64. He managed to get 9 clean sheets in the entirety of that, 149 saves, the most in the Premier League. Unbelievable amount of saves, so that's where you're going to get your points from. And I think Manchester United, again, I don't think people do them justice. Last year, they had so many difficulties with injuries. Martinez went out, Shaw went out. Your consistency, where your Onanas of the world would have been so much better to really contribute and actually do well in their role. I know he said he's going to take a few more risks this year, which it doesn't instill you with confidence, does it? But I think if you see him taking them risks, United will probably be a bit better on the ball, a bit more attention, and probably focus more on Ten Hag's tactic. You get the players in who can perform and do that. That's brilliant for him. 3.5 points per match last year, 120 on the ICT index. So obviously his influence on the team is going to be so high, because if you look at the threat and the creativity, he's not too bad with his distribution. I don't think he picked up an assist last year. I don't think he did. But 10 bonus points. His influence on the team is massive. Only selected by 7.6% of people. I think, again, Onana is a good choice. I think, to be honest with you, if you want to go with someone who isn't the norm, who you think might pick up a few points. You got Fulham home in the first game, Brighton away in the second game, who I think are relegation candidates, if you ask me. Liverpool's going to be the difficult one. Will they be able to keep a clean sheet at Old Trafford? It's if they get off to a good start this year. And I think Onana had a very, very good back end of the season. And if he's got, your Martinez of the world in front of him, who we know are top class players. Yoro, a younger centre back, who probably got a few mistakes in him, which is why I get Onana in for the saves, but in general, he's going to cover off and try and make sure that you have the most comfortable ride as goalkeeper. I think Onana's a good choice. Next up is Pickford. So Pickford, I think, is probably a standout player, to be honest, for this side. He had a great Euros, 13 clean sheets for Everton last year. The one thing Sean Dyche does is make sure that his defence is sound. He makes sure that it's very, very good. They've managed to keep hold of Branthwaite, which is very interesting. Michaelenko's in there as well. I mean, if Patterson comes back in, I'd be very, very happy with having Jordan Pickford in my side. 13 clean sheets, 121 saves, only 56 goals conceded expected last year, 22 bonus points, 4 points per match. Jordan Pickford, I think, is a standout player. I think you've seriously got to think about getting him in your side. Selected by 18.4% of people, I think he's up there. I think he's right up there. ICT index doesn't do him justice for how good this man is. Bonus points 22. He has really pulled Everton out of some dark, dark positions last year. And I think Everton this year, they look decent. Brighton as well as Bournemouth at home. Bournemouth, if they lose Solanke, are they going to be as threatening? I think it's decent first few games for Everton, and they have a few kind games here and there. I think Pickford for 5 million, it's a risk, but it's a solid risk, because last year he was the best goalkeeper all round. So Pickford is your other option in there as well. And then finally, for all the keepers that we're going to go through today, Christian Walton. Now then, I've had to go off his League One statistics from 2 years ago. So last year, Ipswich got a goalkeeper in. Can't remember his name, but they got a goalkeeper in because Christian Walton picked up an injury. He's quite young, Christian Walton. He's about 25, 26, I believe. Picked up an injury, and now he's coming back, and he will be playing. He will be their starting goalkeeper. Now, Ipswich have, I think if you look at the screen now, you think you're mental. You are absolutely mental. A side that's just come up from the Championship, who have Liverpool and City for the first 2 games. You're mad, Alex. You're mental. Christian Walton isn't going to be your main goalkeeper. If you're looking at getting a £5 million goalkeeper, you better just shove Matt Turner in and hope for the best. Because why are you spending 10 million on goalkeepers, 9.5 million on goalkeepers? You're looking to try and get a 4.5, 4.5, and a 5 and a 4. You're looking at 9 million max. That's it. So Walton's your goalkeeper that you're going to try and commit for the year. A duo with someone else at 4.5 million. So you can bring in your Waltons. You can bring in the likes of Flecken, for Brentford, who might have a pretty decent fixtures that cross over. They might have, when Walton has Liverpool, Flecken might have Brighton at home. Lovely game. So to me, in his game in the League One, when Christian Walton was a class above the rest, 46 games he started, 23 clean sheets, 78 saves. I think this man is magic. I think, honestly, if you look at some of the stuff he's been doing in that League One season, I know it's only a bit of a highlight reel, but if you look at the stats, if you look at the pure stats, he is very influential. If you look at the expected points per game when he plays, it completely outweighs the expected points per game when he doesn't play. And the fact that Ipswich have committed to getting, to keeping him in the side and to keep him and not bringing back the goalkeeper that they had the previous year, I think you've really got to give the Ipswich credit there. Will they play Muric? That's the question. I don't think they will. That's my answer. I actually don't think they will. I think it'll be Walton, because we've seen Walton pre-season, seen him play the majority of the games. He is actually their number 1 goalkeeper. He is obviously a cut above the rest. I think he was only 23 when he was in the League One and getting these stupidly good statistics. So for me, Christian Walton's a bit of a dark horse, a bit of get Sells in there from Nottingham Forest plus Christian Walton. So then when Nottingham Forest have a good run of games to start the year, Christian Walton can come in when Nottingham Forest have their blip. Stuff like that. I think Christian Walton is a great choice though, but that's my sort of dark horse this year. We've looked at Leno, we looked at Onana, you got your Pickfords, you got your Martinez's. You're not really going to pick Ederson, are you? Because why would you? City will concede a goal every now and then, and Ederson's prone to a mistake. Alisson's of the world. Liverpool's defence last year was not very good. So are they going to fix that this year? It doesn't look like they are. They're trying to bring in a defensive midfielder, Zubamendi, but do I think that's really going to fix their issues? I don't think it is. So for me, I think these 5 goalkeepers are your best bet for this year. So that's me for now. That's everything that I can go through the goalkeepers. I hope this has helped you. I hope you found it informative. And yeah, I'd be interested to see what you think down below in the comments of what you think of the goalkeepers this year and who and what sort of strategy you're going for. I'll be bringing you defenders, midfielders, strikers as well, all your forwards that you should be probably trying to put into your side. There's quite a range of players this year, which is very good. FPL have valued players very, very well this year, incredibly well. The defenders, it's always hard to price, but I think they've really hit the nail on the head for defenders. Goalkeepers, I mean, a lot of £5 million goalkeepers, they're forcing you to go for a Matt Turner and a 4.5. I think they should have put possibly maybe a 4 million in there for a starting goalkeeper. I think Nick Pope should have been a £4.5 million player, for how Newcastle conceded so many last year and didn't really get that many clean sheets. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that fares. Another player there, Nick Pope, that you could even consider as well. Let me know down below who you're getting into your side anyway. So thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a like, subscribe if you are new. I'll be bringing you defenders very soon, and I'll catch you in the next one. From me, Alex, have a great day. Ciao.